This is the Madrid Reina Victoria Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel. Madrid is a lovely place. My wife and I have been. I might even like Madrid a little bit better than I like Barcelona. But don't tell Barcelona that. Unfortunately, 3 lowlifes. One gentleman named Jose Martin Santos and 2 computer experts met with elements of Julian Assange's team, and unbeknownst to them, Spanish police, where they tried to extort 3 million euros out of the WikiLeaks organization for photos, images, video footage of Julian Assange in the embassy. They were offering them to spy on the people who were spying on them. They recounted wild information of spying in regards to radical spying on everything from doctor's visits, lawyers' visits, and what seemed to be almost near constant daily surveillance, audio and video footage of Julian Assange while he was in the embassy. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. And yes, near constant surveillance of Julian Assange. This story came to light in El País. El País essentially had the tapes for this particular conversation that the Spanish police took of this, which is why we know that this blackmail attempt did indeed take place. Guys, before I continue, if you enjoy this content and you find yourself coming to this channel often, please consider supporting this content through PayPal or Patreon. It's not that I enjoy saying this, it's more so that they go after this channel and they demonetize these videos, and it's not like I get wildly radical views. But the views that I do get, I kind of want to get payment for by YouTube. And they tend to demonetize my videos. So if you enjoy it, you find yourself coming back here often, please consider supporting. Let's do the news. So yeah, radical spying on behalf of what seems to be elements of the Ecuadorian government on Assange. What they were using was this. This was the footage that they were using. Internal footage from the embassy itself. There were multiple meetings that were set up. In one case, these guys put out on Twitter that they were they had footage that they wanted to sell. But at some point they contacted Assange's team and they told them, look, he's being spied on constantly. And they give him the information, they show him. And they make the point, not only is he being spied on constantly, it's not just video footage, it's audio footage also. Meaning recently they've added in microphones where they can track audio information. They were spying on him around the clock. And we have access to it. And we can give you access to it. We can allow you to spy on the people that's spying on him. But for a price, we need to eat. Don't you get payment for the work that you do? Now, Jose Martin Santos, the guy who calling himself a reporter, was chiding these guys. He wanted cash. He wanted 3 million euros. What he made the point to them was, look, there's somebody who's offering me more. And if I take this to the United States, this could be sold like wow cakes. I know they'll give me a lot of money for it. And they themselves will make hundreds of millions of dollars off of it. But I am offering you the measly price of 3 million euros for this information. Now, WikiLeaks is no way they're going to accept blackmail in this case. And what they do, they go to the Spanish authorities. And they have them listening in on the conversation as they prod and ask them questions about where are you getting this from? I mean, how on earth are you getting access to this information? You're getting access to embassy audio logs, the embassy video logs, and not just audio and visual. Doctor's visits, the privacy and intimacy of a doctor. You're getting access to those. And legal visits. You're also getting access to legal visits. Meaning, Assange's team was making the point that these were documents that was between Assange and his lawyer. How are you getting this information? Are you doing this yourself? They said, we weren't doing this. This wasn't us. But they made the point to him, as they were being prodded for information, that anything that takes place in that embassy goes to the ambassador. Which again hits home this point of Ecuador. Assange was living in hostile territory since Moreno took office. And Moreno called Assange a thorn in his shoe, or a stone in his shoe, which gave you this impression of how he viewed Assange. This wasn't something that he dealt with in a way that Correa dealt with. This was something that he wanted out. And he was willing to take a lot of money to do so. Would take a lot of money to do so. Only place they could have gotten this information, or most likely gotten this information, was from Ecuador. Ecuador was spying on Assange constantly, around the clock. Legal documents, medical documents, didn't matter what it was, they had it all. When faxes were made, anything took place in that embassy, for the most part, they were able to record and take and get footage of it. This was amazing. I told my wife, I said, they were spying on Assange and they were trying to essentially extort money from him. She says, I'm not surprised. It's not that I'm surprised. It's just horrific, or just horrible. The unit was the kidnapping and detention department. They were essentially surveilling this conversation when that conversation took place. I'm not going to go into the details of the conversation because, to be honest, they're not really all that pertinent. Ultimately, what this story boils down to is Assange in that embassy was under constant surveillance. And as he was under constant surveillance, some people got their hands on that information that was, I guess, in between the ambassador and the people who were doing the actual spying, and was trying to extort WikiLeaks for 3 million euros to hand them over that information and to have constant surveillance too on the people who are surveilling them. Meaning, we'll allow you to watch the people who are watching him. Of course, they said no. 2 of those people were arrested. And not just 2 of them were arrested. Apparently, the matter was going to a higher court within the context of the European Union. In the recorded conversation to which El País has access, the alleged extortionists said there were microphones at the embassy, and that all recorded material involving the WikiLeaks founder was being handed over to the ambassador for review. Martin and one of the associates in Alicante offered WikiLeaks the opportunity to spy on their spies for a price. 2 of the 3 alleged extortionists have since been arrested and are being investigated by the courts. And apparently this has been raised to a higher court within the European Union. Following the arrest of one of the quote-unquote reporter and one of the computer experts, the Madrid court recently passed the case over to the High Court on the grounds that there is a connection between the crime of making threats and crimes against privacy and self-image committed on international soil. One of these guys is still at large, but at least they caught him. I don't know what it's like, man. At the point towards the end, he was being constantly filmed, and he knew it. He even said as much in one of the meetings where Cassandra Fairbanks was there, when he was going after one of the guards, saying, "You are constantly watching me. You guys are spying on me." And Madrid and Ecuador had the nerve to say that Assange was saying bad things about them. And one of those bad things was that they were constantly spying. You were constantly spying on him. You were constantly surveilling on him. You were being pushed by other countries. You are not, at this point, a sovereign nation. You are a patsy of foreign powers. Your predecessor was a better man. I'll end this here. If you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the PayPal or Patreon. I didn't want this one to be long, but I covered the stories dealing with Julian Assange I think he's important. And I think he's important enough to cover. And the last thing I want is the story of what's taking place with him to just kind of go into the ether, into that good night, while he remains in that prison for the next 50 weeks. I suppose the story won't, because there's going to be extradition fights, but still. Thanks all.